Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm Todd from AIProxy, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build a YouTube transcriber app using Each AI and AIProxy. So sit back and follow along and let's dive right in. All right, so to kick things off, let's head over to the Each Labs website, and the URL for that is eachlabs.ai, and go ahead and log in or create an account. And what we want to do first is we want to build our own flow. So click this button right here. And this is the visual editor that I was mentioning at the beginning. So here is where you can build these workflows that combine different models. So we're going to add an item. And as you can see, you've got a ton of different options for models here. And it's quite flexible. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to keep it simple. And we're going to do a YouTube transcriber app. So let's search for YouTube. And because we want the user to be able to enter their own YouTube URL, we need to add an input. So click on the input node here, and we're going to add an input. That's going to be a string. And we'll call this parameter YouTube URL. And then for a default value, I'm going to give it a video right here, and then click add. So next, what we need to do is click on the YouTube transcriptor node. And we're going to replace this video URL with the variable that we just set up, the YouTube URL variable. And that's it. So now we've got this model set up, or this workflow set up, and all we have to do is give it a name, YouTube transcriber, and hit create. And we're good to go. So now we're ready to use this workflow. So next what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to AIProxy and get things set up in the AIProxy dashboard. All right, so head over to the AIProxy website at AIProxy.pro. And I already have an account here, so I'm just going to log in. If you don't have an account, it's free to set up. And we're going to add a new project. And let's call this project YouTube Transcriber. And the first thing we're going to set up is device check. So click on device check on the left here. We're going to click configure. And we need to get a couple pieces of information from the Apple developer dashboard. So head over to your Apple developer account. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a key. And we'll call this transcriber key. And we'll leave that blank. And make sure device check is clicked on. Click continue. And then register. And here's all the info that we need for setting up device check. So let's copy the key ID. And back in the AIProxy dashboard, we'll paste it right here. For the team ID, you can grab that on the top right. Paste that right here. And then the P8 file you could download from this button. So download it, and we will add that P8 file. And then click Save Settings. Okay, so we've got device check set up in the AIProxy dashboard. There's a couple other things we're going to need to have device check working properly once we get into Xcode, but I'll cover those. I'll cover those after we set up our service. So now we're going to add Each AI as a service. So click on the Add New Service button. Click Each AI, Add New Service, and we need to add our Each AI API key now. So click on API keys, create key, and say Each AI key. And we're going to get this key from the Each AI dashboard. So there's a page on the left here, API keys. Copy that key, paste it into AIProxy. Now, we always make it a point to mention this. We don't store your key on our backend anywhere. We use something called split key encryption. So you don't have to worry about your backend living on our side. So add your key. And now we have some instructions for how to integrate Each AI into our Swift UI app. So now we're going to head over to Xcode, and I'll cover how to get all this integrated. All right, switching over to Xcode now. I actually already have a project set up here. I didn't want to cover building all of the UI. So I have a project here that has just the basics that we need. There's a text field for entering your YouTube URL, and then a button that's going to make the API call. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually import the AIProxySwift package. So go back to the dashboard, and we're going to copy this link right here, and go ahead and click Add Package Dependency. Paste that in the search bar up here, and then click Add Package. And then we're going to import it, AIProxy. And then next we need to paste our partial key in our service URL. Paste that right below our import. And then we're going to set up our device check bypass token. We need this to actually be able to test this in the simulator. So copy this variable name, and in Xcode, click Shift Command, comma. We're going to create a new variable, and then copy the token and paste that in the value field. Close. Okay, and now one other thing that we need to do in the developer dashboard is we need to make sure our bundle ID is listed there. So a couple things. The team needs to be set, so this can't be set to none. And then the bundle ID, it can't be a wildcard. This needs to be explicitly set. So copy this bundle ID, and then head over to your Apple developer account. And under identifiers, we're going to add that bundle ID. Paste that there, click continue, and then register. So, okay, now it's listed there. So this can trip people up, because if you forget to do this, device check won't work, and your project won't work in Xcode. So just remember to do this. All right, so back in Xcode now, we're ready to actually set up our API call. And what we can do is on the AIProxy dashboard, there is a link to the Swift examples, and that's going to take you right to the Each AI sample code. So first thing we need is our workflow ID. So we're going to copy this right here, and we'll paste that right below our partial key and service URL. And the workflow ID is that workflow that we set up in Each AI earlier in the video. So to get that, let's go to Each AI and go to AI apps on the left here, and your workflows are listed. And we're going to click on YouTube Transcriber. And to get that workflow ID, if you click on the documentation button up here on the right, you'll get some sample code. Now, we don't need all this sample code. We just need this workflow ID. But I don't think I can select this, so I'm going to copy the whole thing. And then back in Xcode, I'm just going to, let's see, I'll copy this right here. And paste that into the workflow ID. Whoops. I just want this value. Okay. All right. So that's our workflow ID. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to write a function that's going to make that API call. So I'll come down here and say private function. We'll call this like generate. Yeah, generate. Result. And that's going to be sync throws. And now let's take a look at that sample code on AIProxy. And this is the actual sample code that's going to make the request. So copy all this, and we're just going to paste that right here. And a couple things we're going to change is for the parameters. Remember, we set up our parameter to be YouTube URL. So we're going to change that from image to YouTube URL. And then for the value here, we're going to say AIProxy JSON value. And this needs to be a string literal. And URL is the state variable that's getting the value from this text field. Okay, and then before we actually test this out, I'm going to add some loading states. So I already have a loading state variable set up. So I'm going to say with animation is loading equals true, and then defer with animation is loading equals false. And then down here, once we actually get our result back from our API call, we're actually going to store that result in our result state variable, which we can use to then show in the UI. And then one other thing we're going to do is we're going to set show result to true, which is our bottom sheet that's going to show up that shows the result. And let's see if there's anything else we need to do here. One last thing is we actually need to call that function in our button. So we're going to do try await generate result. All right, so let's give this a try. So I already have a URL in the field. So if I hit transcribe, let's take a look. And so the loading state's working. Now what we can do to make sure this is all working properly is we can head over to the AIProxy dashboard and go to live console, and we should see our requests coming through in the live console. So there we go. The requests are coming through. Looks like it's working. Yep, it's running. So I'll give this a second. So the live console is a really great way to debug and make sure your integration is working properly. And there we go. The transcription showed up in our UI, and yeah, everything worked properly. So again, the live console is great for checking to see what's happening when you're making a request and for debugging. But everything seems to be working perfectly, and that's going to wrap things up for the demo. All right, before we wrap things up, I want to share the details of our partnership with Each AI. So we're bringing you some awesome discounts, and if you sign up for AIProxy and use the code Each AI Partner, you're going to get 50% off your AIProxy account for a limited time when you use it towards Each AI. And then on Each AI side, you'll get credits towards your balance so that you can build with Each AI and have some credits there. So we're really excited about this partnership, and we can't wait to see what people build using the two tools. And as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please reach out to Lou and I. All right, thanks for watching.